Hello, May class, and welcome to your next history lesson. In the previous lesson, we were doing a cold task where we were sharing if we knew anything about the Romans, and you were creating a mind map about them, and then you were also writing some questions on what you would like to know or learn about the Romans. So in today's lesson, we're going to go over some vocabulary to do with our Roman topic. I'm also going to briefly go through the knowledge organizer with you, and the knowledge organizer will be put up onto Tapestry for you to have a look at. It is a lot of information that you will use so you can know more about the Romans, so you can have a read through that for yourself when you have some time. Our keywords for our topic in history are as following, and I'm going to read them to you with my turn, then it'll be your turn. So I'm only going to read them once, and it's my turn, your turn. So, Rome, gladiator, sword, colosseum, empire, mosaic, aqueduct, Julius Caesar, coins, baths, soldiers, Pantheon, Basilica, slave, Barbarian, sewer, Chariot. Our first word is Rome. Now, Rome is the capital city of Italy. And you can see from that picture that we've got a picture of the Colosseum in there. We had the same, we had the word Colosseum in our English vocabulary. So you should know that the Colosseum is found in Rome, Italy. So Rome is the capital city of Italy. Gladiator. Now, a gladiator was a man trained to fight against other men in an arena. So during ancient Roman times, they used to fight against each other in arenas. So a lot like the amphitheater, they would fight against each other and people would come to watch them fighting. Sword. A sword is a weapon with a long metal blade and a hilt with a hand guard. So the hilt is the bit that you hold, used for thrusting or striking, and it's now typically worn as part of ceremonial dress. So occasionally the soldiers will still wear them when they are dressed up, but they don't really use them anymore. It's more just for show. So a sword is a type of weapon. The Colosseum. Now, the Colosseum, this was one of your vocabulary words from English. It was a large theatre or stadium, so we called it an amphitheatre, an outside theatre. And like I mentioned earlier, this would often be somewhere where the gladiators would then come and fight, and people would be able to kind of sit in their seats and watch what was going on. Empire, which we also had for English. So empire is an extensive group of states or countries that is ruled over by a single monarch being a king or a queen. So you had the Roman Empire. So it's a group of states or countries together. So if you have a look at the map there, while it is quite old, it shows you the extent of how big the Roman Empire was and the different countries that were ruled over by Rome. Can you see if you can find any that you recognize from your geography? And the names are slightly different in that picture because these are the ancient the Roman Empire names from many, many years ago. There are obviously some of them are named something a little bit different now. So that was the Roman Empire. Mosaic. A mosaic is a pattern or picture produced by arranging together small pieces of stones, tiles, or glass, and they would create an image. So the stones or the tiles or the glass would be different colors, and they would create a picture much like the one that's in the screen that showed you different things. So it was a type of artwork, was a mosaic. And they were often, you can still find some often on floors where you walk. There'll be places where you'll have mosaics on the floor. You can have a mosaic pattern up in a wall, maybe in a bathroom. Sometimes they use small tiles to do that, but it's something that just makes it look nice. An aqueduct. An aqueduct is an artificial channel for conveying water, and is typically in the form of a bridge across a valley or another gap. So that is an aqueduct. Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was a Roman general and a statesman who played a critical role in the events that led to the end of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. Coins. Now we should know this one. Coins are flat discs or a piece of metal with an official stamp used as money. So we use coins to pay for things. And obviously during the Roman times, coins would have been used to pay for whatever you wanted to buy or put money on or things like that. Baths. So baths are a large container of water used for immersing, which means getting into and covering yourself with water and washing the body. You may say, but that looks like somewhere in England. Yes, it is in the city of Bath, where obviously they had large baths that people could go to. So public baths where it wasn't just one like we have in our houses, as they used to have large ones like this. So large containers of water that you could kind of put yourself in and wash your body in. So baths. A soldier. So a soldier is a person who serves in an army. So we have Roman soldiers on the left-hand side and what they could have looked like. And then on the right-hand side, we have the soldiers that you may see in modern day, so now. And you can see from what they're wearing, what they're carrying, they do look a little bit different, but they are both types of soldiers. The Pantheon is a Roman temple. Basilica is used in ancient Rome as a law court or a place for public assemblies. So we have assemblies in our hall. So in ancient Rome, they have the Basilica, which was a very large place, as you can see, where they could have public assemblies, so the public could come, or it was also used as a court of law. So a slave. Now, a slave is a person who is the legal property of another and is forced to obey them. So slavery meant that they owned people, and these people belonged to someone, and they obviously had paid money for them, not to the people. So the slaves themselves wouldn't earn money, but they belonged to someone and they were forced to obey them, often doing work for them, not getting paid, but they belonged to someone else. A barbarian. So in the ancient times, a barbarian was a member of a people not belonging to one of the great civilizations. So if they weren't Greek, if they weren't Roman, if they weren't Christians, they were known as barbarians. A sewer. So a sewer is an underground conduit for carrying, so it's a type of thing that carries off drainage water and waste matter. So we still have sewers nowadays. They run under the road and they take away all kind of waste matter, and they are also used to drain excess water. So they would then carry that all away. A chariot. So a chariot is something much like the picture that you can see on the screen. It's a two-wheeled vehicle that's drawn by horses, and it's used in ancient racing and warfare. Occasionally, you can actually still see these now. There are chariots, horse carts, and things that are still used now, but we don't use them in warfare or ancient racing like they used them here. So a two-wheeled vehicle drawn by horses is called a chariot. So on your screen is the knowledge organizer that I'm going to put on to Tapestry for you, or it should already be on Tapestry by the time you watch this video. And it just gives you a little bit of information about the Romans. I will read through it with you now, but as you can see on the right-hand side, you've got all the key vocabulary that we've just been through. So we're going to have a look on the left-hand side at what we need. So who were the Romans? The Romans lived in Rome, which is a city in the center of the country of Italy. Why the Romans came to Britain, or why they invaded Britain? Do you remember what the word invade means? Because it was one of our English vocabulary words. So why the Romans came to Britain is not quite certain. Two reasons have been suggested. So we're not actually sure, but there are two reasons that they could have come to England. The first, the Romans were cross with Britain for helping the Gauls, and Gauls are people, what they used to call people that we now call the French, for helping the Gauls fight against the Roman general Julius Caesar. Two, they came to Britain looking for riches, land, slaves, and most of all, iron, lead, zinc, copper, silver, and gold. Okay, so I want you to think, why do you think it was important, or why were those things important? So iron, lead, zinc, copper, silver, gold, land, slaves, what do you think they could have used that for? How long did the Romans stay in Britain? The Romans remained in Britain from 43 AD to 410 AD. That is almost 400 years, or 4 centuries. What did the Romans give us? So believe it or not, even though that was very, very long ago, there are still things that we use now that we can thank the Romans for. So language. The language used today was developed from the Romans. The Romans spoke and wrote in Latin, and many of our words are based on Latin words. The calendar that we use, our 365-day calendar, did you know that the calendar we use today is more than 2,000 years old? It was started by Julius Caesar, a Roman ruler. It is based on the movement of the earth around the sun, and so is called the solar calendar. Every leap year, or every 4th year, the names of our months are the solar calendar has 365 days a year, and 366 days every leap year, or every 4th year. The names of our months are taken from the names of Roman gods and rulers. The month July, in fact, is named after Julius Caesar himself. Laws and legal systems. The laws and way we determine what to do with someone who is accused of breaking the law came originally from the Roman Empire. Okay. The Romans also gave us straight roads, central heating, concrete, and aqueducts, bridges for water. Right. My tasks to you are as follows. Remember, you will be getting 3 tasks every lesson, and you just need to try and make your way through from the first task into the second task into the third task. Have a go at defining the words on your own. So go through each one of the words and see if you can come up with a definition that makes sense to you. Google the definitions and write them in your own words. Draw a symbol next to each of the keywords to help you remember them. So maybe for sword, you draw a sword. Maybe for gladiator, you can draw a shield. Maybe for soldier, you can draw a helmet. Aqueduct, you could probably draw the bridge. So think of some symbols that you are able to put next to those keywords that reminds you of these vocabulary words. Remember, the reason we go through these vocabulary words is that you learn them and that you use them in your writing, making sure that you've got the spellings to go back to. So you should have these written down. So in case you're unsure of how to spell aqueduct, you can go, oh, I used that in my knowledge organizer. Let me just go back and check on the spelling of that. I'm going to add an extra challenge to those of you that managed to finish all three of those. In the previous slide, we saw that the names of our months were taken from the names of Roman gods and rulers. So I want you to see if you can find which Roman gods or rulers the months of the years were named after. So for example, they've already given you that July was named after Julius Caesar. Don't forget to share all of this with us on Tapestry. Some of you have already been doing that, so thank you for doing that. It's wonderful to see. Don't forget also that even though you're at home, we still expect you to be laying your work out neatly and to be trying hard with your presentation. So please remember that. And join us if you've got any questions for the live lesson so we can talk through some of the work and anything that you maybe did not understand.